So your body is constantly communicating to you, and you're constantly communicating to your body. Your body is listening to you. Your body is highly intelligent. It's a highly intelligent design. And if you look around, everything that you see is reflective of how magnificent your body truly is. We're not separate from the actual environment that we're witnessing. It can become very easy to downplay how magnificent you are, how magnificent your body is, and the fact that you get to express and be a human. So, why is that? Why do we fall into a state of forgetfulness? Or why do we just lack awareness on how incredible we are? We are not necessarily taught or conditioned to acknowledge our bodies in the way that our bodies are acknowledging us. When you think about the human body, we know and we understand, and if you don't, you're about to understand, that it is made of mostly water. And water is holding memory. Water is also intelligent. They did a study on water where they observed the molecules of water. They observed water molecules, and the water molecule that was spoken in a way that was loving and with gratitude responded by way of actually crystallizing into a beautiful geometric shape, something that appeared to be more harmonious, light, and in a beautiful state. And then they also studied a different water molecule that was spoken to with negativity, it was spoken to with hatred. And when they observed that water molecule, they saw that it became fragmented and the shape was not in this geometric state. It was dark and it was clouded. And depending on the word that was spoken to that molecule of water, the shape and the color kind of varied. But there was a clear distinction between the molecules that were observed that were spoken to positively versus negatively. And so when you relate that to the actual body and you acknowledge that you are mostly comprised of water, can you come into the realization in this moment that your body is responding to what you're telling it and to what other people are telling it and to what you believe? So you might not even realize that your internal dialogue is completely and utterly detrimental because we have thoughts constantly flowing through our brain. But the dominant frequency that we are holding, that we are sustaining, the dominating thoughts within our mind is going to be what our body actually responds to most and shapes into most because you're sustaining that state. You see? And this is just the tip of the iceberg as to how intelligent your body actually is. Most of the time when we experience some form of dis-ease, some form of pain, sickness, this is directly correlated to our interference, to the way that we interfere with our natural state, which is a state of wellness, which is a state of health. And we interfere in all kinds of ways, especially when we see that there is a need to. But we don't interfere in the way that is actually going to be beneficial because we have been conditioned to interfere in ways that don't align to the natural way, to the way that your body functions naturally. So an example of this would be, let's say you are experiencing a strained muscle. You pulled a muscle and you have extreme pain, and you have to be very mindful of the way you walk. Maybe you have to wrap it in something. So we're conditioned to alleviate the pain with medications. And I'm not somebody who is against medications, although I understand that there is always an alternative that is more natural. And I understand the benefits of utilizing all different kinds of means to manage pain and to also address certain issues that we might find ourselves experiencing. So back to the muscle strain. You might be taking some sort of pain reliever, right? And so what this is doing is it is allowing you to exist with the injury without as much pain. That interference is covering the pain that is still present. The only reason you don't feel the pain is because the chemicals are inhibiting you from feeling it to that extent. But the pain is still there. And in a sense, you're numbing your body to that pain. And when you feel relief from pain, you have a tendency to look away from it. So to look away from your pain is to not acknowledge your pain, right? So I'm kind of connecting this to how it affects your psychology, the way that you think and the way that you approach any situation. And I see this very often with my clients, where the conditioning is that we look away from our pain. We ignore our pain. We learn to live with it, yes. And there's a multitude of reasons why we learn or how we learn to live with pain. But this masking through these pain relievers prevents you, or has the potential, often prevents one, from actually taking initiative to allow the body to heal naturally. You know, we take the pill and then we think, oh, problem solved, until 4 hours, and then we just take more, and then maybe we double the dose. You see how it affects the way that you're thinking, the way that you behave, your psychology. So in my approach, I'm teaching people that we must address the pain. I'm not saying avoid painkillers at all costs. I don't recommend them. But if you need it, pain relief it's necessary sometimes, and it's helpful. If it's helpful to you, I'm not going to tell you not to alleviate your pain. But I'm also encouraging you to take a look at it and acknowledge your body every day, because it is responding to what you say, to your command. So if every single day you look at your pain and you say, I hurt and I'm not getting better and this is terrible and I hate this, and you are in a state of regret for whatever it is that you were doing that got you into that state. Maybe you were riding a bike. Man, I shouldn't have rode my bike that day. You are training the body to remain in a state that is compromised. Because again, the molecules are responding to what you say. So you could imagine that when you take a look at your strained muscle and you say you're healing and you will improve little by little, breath by breath. With each breath, I experience more healing. Or you encourage it as opposed to being resentful and angry at the pain. You take a look at the pain and you say, I acknowledge you. And I don't like that you're experiencing this pain. Knee, let's say you have knee pain. I don't like that you're experiencing this pain, knee. I'm here for you. I'm supporting you through this. We can do this, because the power of your mind is going to transcend your state of being. But you have to utilize it in a way that's beneficial to you. You have to utilize it in a way that's going to assist in the process of healing. That's not going to interfere in a way where you don't even want to look there. And what happens when you don't look there and you don't feel the pain because of the masking, because of the pills? You start to overwork it without even feeling it, and then you cause more strain, and then there's more things that you'll have to address long term, right? So we want to be able to think long term when it comes to the body. We want to be able to think of sustainability when it comes to the body. Prevention and maintenance is the most effective thing that you could do for yourself. Because if you wait for some sort of an imbalance to manifest to the point where you're injured or you're in chronic pain, it's going to be much more difficult for the body to do what it does naturally, which is heal. And what was posed to me was this idea and this reality for me personally, and for those who follow me and learn from me and believe in what it is that I'm sharing because of the results that they've gotten. It is that there is actually no such thing as dis-ease, a disease. Disease is an illusion. It doesn't matter what it is. And the reason why is because your body is actually functioning at the highest level. See the difference between I have a disease, an incurable disease, versus my body is functioning at the highest level. But how could we say that, Jocelyn, if I, in fact, have cancerous cells that are multiplying? How could I say that my body is functioning at the highest level? How could I say that when I can't walk, or when I am injured and I don't feel good and I feel no energy and I can't participate in the things that I once did? There's no way I could say that and actually believe it. I'll tell you why, though. It's because if your body was not signaling to you that there was something off, then you very well could drop dead. If you put your hand on a hot stove and you didn't feel it, you didn't receive that signal, you would burn down to the bone. You would get a 3rd-degree burn. And that could kill you. It could get infected, and if let's say you didn't feel the infection. That is more scary. To not even be able to sense or perceive what is happening. And that's actually a diagnosis, when people can't actually feel their pain. So understand that your body is communicating to you something. Because it functions at such a high level, it's able to communicate to you through the symptoms. You see? And when you shift your mind, when you make the shift in the mind, it is so transformational. It will change your life, especially if you really are going through this so-called dis-ease. Your body will start responding to you differently. And the more you support it with these natural techniques and these natural biological functionings that your body requires to be in a state of health and wellness, the easier it gets. the better your body becomes. The more you prevent illness, and the more you create health for everybody around you, including the environment that you exist in. Because when you're healthy, when you're sovereign, everything else benefits from that. It is not easy to live with chronic pain. It is not easy to make this mind shift because we have been conditioned to think otherwise. That is why I absolutely love to do what I do. I love to teach people how to come into a state of awareness. Without the awareness, there is no change. There is simply repeating old cycles, old patterns of behavior that have not actually addressed the issue at the root, which is the only place that we can actually make a lasting change, a sustainable change. But no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing right now, I want you to start entertaining the idea, making a slight shift through this awareness that I'm sharing with you, that it is 100% possible for you to experience a state of wellness, no matter what position that you are in. You must come into this awareness, and there are so many things that will support your body through this process and through this transformation. So, that being said, I would love for you to connect with me if you feel that you have been struggling with something, or if you feel like this is truly calling to you and you want to come more aligned, you want to become more aligned into this innate ability, into your natural ability. It happens automatically as soon as you start to make these shifts. So I can teach you this, and I can guide you through this transformation. I am teaching people how to have a full body activation, how to listen to the body, how to perceive subtleties. And once you get past the physical barrier, be it that, you're experiencing a debilitating pain that doesn't even allow you to think for yourself, think clearly, that's when you get to start going a little deeper. And you can harness your abilities in a sense that now you're navigating your emotional well-being at a more skilled level, at a more advanced level. And your intuition becomes more activated. Your ability to perceive your needs and your desires in real time become far more apparent to you in a very subtle way, so that you're able to navigate and discern in a world where you are actively being conditioned to separate from this ability. Whether that intention is malicious or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that I love to think the best of humanity. I love to think the best of you. And I love to think the best of myself, which includes my body. I love to speak life into my body. I love to acknowledge every part of my body. And when you do this, you will feel way more energy. And a lot of those issues that you've been having start to fall away. So if you feel gravitated towards this, please email me. Introduce yourself. Email me and share with me what you might be going through. And I can discuss with you setting up a consultation, and we can start to explore more deeply what it is that you are aiming for, what it is that your intentions are. And I can share with you my entire process, the process that I share with my clients when I provide for them scalar plasma therapy. So I really appreciate you guys for being here, and I trust that you will begin to breathe life and speak life into your body.